Listen, man, this was out at camp and reported, Clint, and I just want to know, did anybody else respond to this? Because it just feels like they have a lot of this on one side of the ball, but not much of this on the other side. And when you hear D'Amico talking about we want to be physical and all of this stuff, you really feel it from that defensive side of the ball. But the other side, you wonder, today, this coming from DJ Bieniemy, today the Texans defense is dominating the Texans offense. After cornerback Tremont Smith broke up a pass from Davis Mills, DJ Gardner-Johnson shouted, "We own their ass," and said it's belt to ass while swinging an imaginary belt while pointing to a Texans camera.
Wow, dude.
And I'm just wondering, did anybody on the offensive side, now I know you get your ass kicked, but still, did anybody on the offensive side buck up to that? Or did they just walk around there and just accept it?
Not a damn soul. I watched C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he busted up. Actually didn't bust it up. Brevin Jordan caught it, and he hit him up under the chin and pushed him out of bounds and did his little belt-to-ass dance. And Jordan got up and tapped him on the helmet.
Talk crap.
And then at one point, Ron, I see a pass break up down the opposite sideline in front of all the stands, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kalen Bullock are both belt-to-ass dancing on them at the same time, and they just kind of eased on. Actually, it was Dalton Schultz kind of just eased on back to the huddle. So, there's not a lot going on the offensive side of the football that puts him in a position to buck back at all, to be honest with you.
I understand that, but there are – I think as you've talked about, there's a clear separation of – I don't care what you want to call it. Some people call it dog. Some people call it aggressiveness. Some people call it just whatever. But even if you are getting your ass kicked, I just know, and you know, there are some offensive teams or some defensive teams in football that like enough's enough on the belt to ass stuff. Enough's something's gonna happen. We're not just gonna sit here and tap people on the helmets and just, even if you are kicking our asses, you ain't gonna be up here belt to ass dancing.
Ron, look, a week into this thing, like today is the day for me, and again, for everybody out there that likes to get real sensitive, I've seen all but one practice, which I think it's 6 of 7 practices over 8 days, I think is where we're at right now. This is the first day. There's been a little jawing, there's been a little dance, and there's been a little smack talking. This is the first day. C.J. Gardner-Johnson 2 or 3 times was belt to ass dancing, like well after the play. And I got to believe that at some point, within a week, if things don't kind of change and the offense start getting the betterment of the defense, I got to believe that there's going to be a little buck back, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson may cause a little bit of a stir in practice, which I would love to see if I'm being honest.
But because Clint, maybe I'm wrong here, but I just believe, let's say the offense is having a day. Let's say they come in Friday and they're having a day, and Nico and Christian Kirk start doing belt-to-ass dancing on it. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the rest of them boys back there, Kamari Lassiter ain't going to be tapping them on the helmet and high-fiving them. Like, even if they getting their ass beat, they're going to do something. I would imagine they're just not going to sit there and just accept, like, all right, man, you getting me, but you ain't going to embarrass me out here.
Who's it going to be? And that's, I mean,
I don't know.
That's the question, right? Is Dalton Schultz is not always one to necessarily buck back. I think Cade Stover may get ate up. He may get fed up with it a little bit and buck back. Brevin Jordan got up and tapped the helmet today, so I don't know how much of that he's got in him. This is where we get to, Ron, again. This is where we get to that friendly brother, stroke everybody, everything's positive approach. Look, defensively, you get to, within the game and within the rules, you get to be physical, dominate, and embarrass folks. Like, offensively, you got to take a little bit of the brunt from time to time, right? You got to receive a little bit. Every now and then, you're going to have to initiate the blowback. Yeah. Who's going to do that on this offense?
I was going to say.
Who's going to do it?
I'm just saying, let Darren Woodson just keep going belt to asses over there, and let's see how long Emmett just keeps rolling over there. Let's see how long Larry Allen sits over there and just rest in peace. Just sits in there and, all right, man, y'all want to have the asses and high five you. Or here, Andre Johnson, he would at some point have lost it.
Andre
right?
Johnson, Wade Smith. I mean, all these cats at some point are going to be like, hey, man, enough's enough. That's a good point, man. You make a great point in a sense of just big picture looking at this training camp and given the dynamic. I'm not saying that one group is behind schedule and is better than the – forget all that. Like just the dynamic that is the Houston Texans practice, Ron, at some point somebody on the offensive side of the football has to get so frustrated they throw a punch.
Well, it's been a clear separation. We've been talking about that. And I do think Joe Mixon probably, if he was out there, wouldn't have just sit there and tweet out to you, Champ Slice. Joe Mixon might have lost his mind a little bit, but you've been talking about it. We've talked about it. Like there are dogs on this team, however you want to put it, that are about it. But there is a clear separation on where most of those guys are, if not all of them.
They reside on the defensive side of the football, is what you're saying.
Yes, it seems like that.
Fair. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.